What's up, Bob? How you doing?
What'd you do to Dunleavy? What'd you say to this guy?
I messed it up.
Well, no, he said Steinmetz. You didn't say anything about it.
I asked him had he thought about coaching because he was in the basketball operations side, and then Steiny goes, he wouldn't coach.
Yeah, it's not you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's Steinmetz.
He asked about. I asked about. First of all, with the chaos in your front office, I just needed to ask about his future. If he's interested in being a GM, he said, yeah. But then the coaching thing came up, and I just said, I don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't see you as a coach, Mike. And he goes, why? And I said, well,
of course he got silent. Yeah, you never get silent.
I couldn't.
Steinmetz usually has thought behind
but
his
I'm right.
comments.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it.
Too even keeled.
Yeah.
He's he's done with the grind of that kind of travel.
Yeah. All right.
No, seriously, the thing about Dunleavy is he's one of these guys, and you got three of them on your team with Curry, Clay, and Wiggins. When they came into the league, they were pros, essentially. Because Dunleavy went to Duke, his dad, they knew how to be pros from the get-go.
Yeah. And I got another. Larry Harris' dad was Del Harris.
Yeah.
It is Del Harris. So I got Dunleavy's dad was a coach. You got Larry Harris's Del Harris, the coach. So I got these guys
talking about
when they're talking about coaching. They grew up in that whole deal.
That's true.
I mean, Dunleavy's been in the NBA just like Steph and Clay and Larry Harris their whole life. They woke up and they were in the NBA. Their dads were playing, so yeah, not like I didn't. It was new to me when I started in the NBA. So,
How did you get into the agent business? Was your dad in the basketball business?
No,
Okay.
nothing. I played at UCLA, and then Herrick knew Arn Tellem, who represented Reggie Miller and the O'Bannons and some other guys. And then I wanted to stay in basketball. Somehow I couldn't play anymore, and I didn't think I wanted to coach. So I started on the agent side. And one of the first people I met that day when I walked in there was Kobe. And he was sitting there. He had a Joe Montana.
The
Mamba. Yeah, he was just finished the series where he airballed those shots against Utah.
Okay.
So he was
about it.
He was sitting there and he had his remember the retro jersey era when everybody was wearing those? So he had on a Joe Montana one. So and he wasn't as big of a name then as he became, but he was getting there. People knew who Kobe was. And I asked him, I said, hey, nice to meet you. And I could tell you where he was sitting. There was a small waiting room. He's just hanging out because he'd hang out in the office a lot. And I said, so blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm going to win 10 championships and I'm moving to Italy. I'm going to finish over there. And he said it as if it was just fact. Right. And you couldn't push back on Kobe because when he said something, it was like the sky's blue. And I was like, you're not going to, what do you mean 10 championships? Yeah. But he just, he had that force of nature and belief that everybody then got to see as he kept playing. So
let me ask you this, Bob, because I was telling Steiny yesterday, I always act like I know what it's like to be a player. I'm like, they're getting ready, they're focused, they know what the seeding implications are. It's go time. How does your day-to-day change? Does it change as your team gets ready to embark on the playoffs?
I heard you guys. He's more right than you, Steiny is.
That hurts.
These guys, I heard no.
I know you think
you know. I know you think you know, Guru, but you don't. You don't know.
Come on.
He covered these guys.
That's right.
He sat around. He was in the locker room. I'm sorry. I can't.
That's
I know it hurts you because you think you know these guys.
Wait till Dante comes in. What's your record?
He won't know. No.
Oh my goodness.
He might. He might know. He might know. But if you ask 15 guys, I think that 6 would get it.
All right.
So he's more right.
What about the chef? I imagine the chef.
No, he's not going to.
Oh, my.
He's going to say we're right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's going to say we're right there.
He said something the other day. What do we got, 5 games left?
You know what? I'll tell you what. What you got to know about at least NBA players, and I don't think football is the same way because those guys they play 17 games or whatever. Baseball and basketball, there's so many games. These guys think about the day they woke up, like what's going on today, what's going on tomorrow. So if you even ask a player about free agency or the next year and they give you some answer, I can tell you they really don't think about it, which is crazy to you. I'm telling you, like when I represented NBA players, it could be June 25th, free agency's June 30th, and you're a well-regarded player. I'd say, Goo, are you thinking about where you want to go? And you go, I'll figure it out. And you really, you go, we'll see who wants to pay me. It's just different, man.
How about this? You'll agree with this. You'll agree with this. These guys are saying, so we're going. This is after the Pelicans game. Okay, we're doing the show on Thursday. Good thing they won. And I'm like, why? I'm like, why? And they're like, well, yeah, they'll be in a better mood. And I don't want to be in a bad mood after. I'm like, they're not.
This was actually said.
They're not going to be in a bad mood because they lost to the Pelicans. Like, that's just not the way, you know?
You can win games.
Like, you can't do that,
You can't.
really.
After that Minnesota game, Bob, I think I might have been a little.
You would have a hard time. You could play football. You can act that way in football.
Okay,
you can do that.
Right.
You can be that emotional. You watch an NFL press conference.
Oh, boy.
In NBA, it's too many games. You can't. They play.
That's what I'm learning.
There's just too many games. You can't carry that
roller coaster.
When Draymond made that play against Minnesota, we turned it over. That was rare. He was upset after the game. These guys just move on, but he hates making those mistakes and costing. He loves to win so much. So he was pretty down about that. More down than I've seen him after most losses, because I think he realized the magnitude of that and he felt like he was part of the loss. But then the next day he's okay.
Right.
You know, it's fine.
Where'd your relationship with him emerge? Because, I mean, look, he was out of control. Mm-hmm. You walked down there and it was almost like you snapped your fingers and he changed.
You were sitting in my seats. I saw you.
Yeah, those are your seats. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me have your seats that game.
Yeah.
Sometimes Guru lets me sit in his seats, so I was in Guru's seats.
I'm imagining Guru gone down.
Yeah, Guru.
Down.
Yeah. What if Guru had been there? I'd say, "Watch this. I'm going to talk to Drake." Guru would say, "Can I come with you? Can I go talk to him?"
That's too funny.
No, you know what? Just like you guys, you work with somebody over a long time, you go through things with him, and Draymond is more than most players I've worked with. He is actually, if you try, he'll let you into his life a little bit. A lot of guys don't do that. So, and he's got a lot going on in there, and he's very smart, and he's very sharp, and he loves the NBA. And so, over the time we drafted, he was my first draft ever as a GM. He was obviously not the first. It was Harrison, then Zealy, then Draymond. And, you know, I bet you would have a relationship with two, or you could. But you gotta be willing to deal with some stuff.
Right.
You want a relationship with him. There's times where you don't want to. But I think he's worth the effort. And what you don't know about that game was in the first quarter when we were not playing well.
Yeah.
He's yelling at me. We have no focus. Yelling at me.
Oh, see, we didn't.
So you didn't see that stuff, right?
Wow.
So my wife's like, "What's he doing?" And I said, "He's just, I don't know." He says, "We have no focus." And then I'm sitting there
But
going,
it's
like,
true though, right?
"What do you want me to do?" Like, I go, "Just play." I'm kind of mouthing. I go, "Just keep playing, man. Just keep playing." But he's not wrong. Our team had no focus, but it's like he's looking for an ally, and I guess he views me as that, which is a compliment. And so he began that dialogue in the first quarter. And then because he did that, and then I just saw him, you guys saw what I saw. It was incredible. In a different place.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I don't do that. Sometimes I'll go down and talk to Iguodala when he's not playing and say, like, what are we doing? Because he's in the huddles. But I don't do that. And by the way, had I known it would have been picked up, I didn't think it would be seen.
Right.
But then it was.
Now,
but you
so
could. There's a chance it might not have gone well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. But you know what, though? I don't. Draymond is, you can talk to him. I know that may seem hard for people that are listening to understand. They probably think you can't reason with this guy. He's not in a place to hear anything. I don't think that's true. The times where I've called him and we've disagreed on whatever it is, he'll hear my side. You know, when we suspended him, he didn't like that. But he'll hear my side of it, and then he'll give me his side. But I'll tell you what, he smells fear. You cannot approach him with fear or intimidation.
The Pelicans, they bowed down.
Well, I'm just telling you, you can't do that with him. So if he sees that you're not afraid, and the truth is, most people are afraid of him.
Yeah.
It is the truth. Like, most people are afraid of him. And if he sees that, he loses respect. So you can't be afraid. And maybe I'm not saying I'm anything special, but I've known him a long time and been through some stuff, and it doesn't work like that with us. So
we don't have that experience with Draymond, but just hearing you talk, and I know you don't know every roster in the league, but he's got to be the missing ingredient to so many teams, Bob, trying to win it. I mean, I like, the Milwaukee's and the Boston's, like, how many teams are void of a guy like Draymond? I mean, that's incredible. And I'm not criticizing him. I wouldn't have talked to my teammate that way, but I know what he brings. But just hearing you talk about that, I'm like, dude, if you were ever to go somewhere, there would be contenders. The line would be around the corner.
Well, look, I think people listening, and maybe you two know how hard it is to win in professional sports. It is really, really hard. He has figured out how to win at everything all the time. And he's elite at that. Elite at winning. Now, to be the force that he is, which you saw the other night, to carry that kind of energy, there's a power to that. Sometimes he abuses that, right?
Right.
And I think he would say that. And he has this year. He would admit it. You have to live with that. See, I was talking to Stanford Law School the other day, and they said, what's Draymond like? I said, here, since we're all here in person,
right.
I said, this is Draymond. And I got a water bottle at the edge of the table. I said, he lives right here. This is where Draymond lives. And then you just touch it,
Yeah.
That's where he lives. So most people live here, safely here. You and I are probably here. Guru, you might be around here. Steinmetz and I are over here. Yeah. But anyways, you risk things. When you want to be that emotional, I'm a little envious. Like, I'm not saying, because you're here, you're more that way. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I'm more like this guy. So I don't get the highs and lows. But in my job, it's probably better to be a GM and not. I can't act like that.
Right.
Like maybe some GMs do. But anyways, it's helped us, man. You can't argue with what he's done to help the team win.
So if the playoffs started today, who would you play?
We're 6, right? Kings.
You tell me.
Kings. Thank you, Bob.
I think we're. I know that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I got
He doesn't
something.
care. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
But you know
just
what?
hearing
But you
them
know what
say
though?
it,
There's too many. It's a little different this year because there's too many machinations.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow it'll be.
Well,
I don't know what it'll be.
well.
And then on Sunday or Monday we're 7 or 8 or 6 or 5. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm watching Minnesota Phoenix last night. I'm like,
I don't know.
Who are the Warriors
Yeah,
want to win this? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Raymond would probably know.
He does know. He knows the triple tiebreakers.
Yeah, they want it. Okay,
there
so
you go.
got,
Raiders got something.
you got your wish. That's
You
right,
got
because it's division. Division record is the tiebreaker. All right. Spadoni was right. We got to take a break? We don't? We're going to go right through? All right. We've got Bob Myers. I'm Matt Steinmetz. Daryl the Guru Johnson. We're at Chase Center in San Francisco. Warriors taking on the San Antonio Spurs tomorrow night. 5 games left. They're in the 6th spot. They play Sacramento. And it's been... How have you, like, I know we've talked to you, you don't, like, it's not fun, for you. But this year, is there at least some enjoyment with the unknown?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, people, you said when we were great,
Like,
we were boring.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't
Yeah.
interrupt, but
No.
like Steve Kerr saying, I'm having mad fun this year. Like, what? Why?
I can't say that.
Okay.
I can't say that. I just, a couple reasons why we haven't. You'd like to see your team healthy, competing. I think we still haven't seen the full team. I'd like to see a better road record, so would everybody else. Those are frustrating. Those are hard because for me, I used to go on the road more than I do now. As a general manager, watching a game on the road and the fact that we've only won, I think, 8 or 9. How many have we won, Ritter? 9? That sucks. That's not fun. It's not. I don't know if you guys watch our road game. It sucks.
Sure.
We've won 9 road games. That's not. Those are especially for coming from a team that has won a lot on the road. It's great for our local fans that have come to this building,
Right.
and only seen 8 or 9 losses. That's great, but I have and the West is not. It's there for someone to grab, and so that's a little frustrating. I think for other teams could say the same thing, but
Right.
But I mean, even when we were a team that was expected to win every game, when we had Durant, I bet if you looked at 82 games, and I think I asked somebody at one point whether it was 2016 or 17 or 18, I think of 82 games, we were probably favored in 76, which is just insanity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, betting favored.
Right.
And that's just a different thing because when you're just supposed to win every single game, that's great, but there's a ho-humness to that. We were sitting at a game at Oracle a few years ago, and an opposing GM who'd been fired was sitting next to me, and it was one of those great rosters. And end of the season, and we won a game, and he was sitting with me, and he said, game was winding down. He said, "Congratulations." I said, "For what?" And he goes, "You guys won the game." And I go, "Oh, yeah." Like, because it was that kind of team. Right. It was like, oh, yeah, well, sure. Now I'm sitting here going, like, we don't know if we're going to win or lose any game this year. It's a 500, a little bit better. So I wouldn't use that word, but if anybody else is having fun, that's good, I suppose.
Now, you know what we do every day. I got my sword and my shield with this guy, right? So the other day we were talking about the just social media and today's athlete and organizations and slander compared to critique, like what's overboard. And I'm going to be real with you. I've said on our station, I've never seen a metamorphosis like Jordan Poole when he got sent to Santa Cruz and what he did last year. And the ability, I just went down a list of great players, the Kobe's, the Jordans, to be able to get to the free throw line. You helped me out last Friday. I was in your seats. I saw it close up. He's got that skill, and the sky's the limit for him. So I come to the station, and we're talking about fans calling in. Do the veterans get along with Jordan Poole? Maybe Jordan Poole, the word disconnect. We kind of ask you about it. Do you put that under the category of slander? Because I was telling Steiny, how could anybody know if they're not here? And is that too out of bounds to even suggest if you don't have the proof?
So just to be clear, the accusation is that the people are saying there's a disconnect between the
veteran, the OGs, and Poole.
Poole/young guys.
Yeah. Poole might be the hot shot and it's rubbing the. Well, and I'm like, well, okay, I'll be on the other side, Bob. Before you answer, how do you know?
Nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows. I mean, I would argue that, and if somebody thinks they know, that's just their opinion, right? You could say, oh, they're disconnected. Someone could say, what does that even mean? Who knows that? I guess you'd have to ask those guys. But Draymond might say something. Steph might say Clay's. So. I would say that it comes. These things are a long year. It's a long year. There's times where you probably criticized Clay, not unfairly early on, or Draymond. I know has had ups and downs. Your job, you two have to comment every day on our team. So what are you supposed to do? Just say, oh, let's see what happens at the end of the year. We'll see how they are in the playoffs. So fans do the same thing. I mean, that's what fans get to do. It's react to that game. Poole plays great. He's great.
We call it
turns
new
it
information.
Over. Sure. I mean, it's day trading in a way. It's like, it's pop the champagne, the stock went up. Let's jump off the building when it goes down. I can't do that. So what I watch is, is there something that needs to be done to help a player? Poole's been really good the last how many games? Yeah. Was he in a fun? Absolutely. I often look at it like a hitter in baseball where there's a guy that's a 300 hitter. He may hit 200 for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And people probably rip the guy. You can't hit, Posey was a guy like that. He's done. Now he's back. And so I would say no, not disconnect, I think is too strong a word. I don't know how you characterize slander. But I will say that I think I heard you guys talking about when slander, if I was going to use that term, it's when it becomes personal. Like that guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or he's a clown. Or that stuff's that's not right.
Right.
You might say he's turnover prone or he lost the ball. I wish he'd give it up to Curry. Whatever people want to say, okay, that's sports. But when it starts getting into someone that they don't know or don't see work, I think that the thing we get to see more is who these guys are off the camera.
Right.
So you don't know how hard a guy really works because you just watch the game. Right. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know how much you guys prepare. I just want to listen to you. I turn it on.
Right.
You have a bad day. It might be like, well, no, he really prepared. He just said something he should have said. So it's the fun part, though, man. If people care. I love our fans because they care. I've been called an idiot for not signing the big guys and walking to get a cup of coffee and what's wrong with the team. I'd rather have that than nobody even knows who we are or what we are. So I'm okay with the passion from fans.
Have you detected any, because you guys have won it 4 times, and I'm going to go back to light years when Joe said light years in the New York Times. Do you sense, are other teams envious of what you guys got, that you can tell when you deal with other organizations?
I don't. It's a good question. I don't know. I think that I'm sure Draymond's got some detractors, but Curry's a hard guy not to like. If you don't like Steph, I don't know where you're getting that.
I'm talking more
me, like us.
Yeah, you and like Joe, and maybe it's tougher to make deals because nobody wants to do you any favors, or maybe other teams, and at least a few years ago, they're coming to get you.
I'll tell you what. I think last year, what I have heard from my peers is they didn't mind what we did last year. I actually think people are rooting for us a little bit. I don't think they loved the Durant era because they felt like it was gluttony.
Yeah,
and nobody likes that. And
I was one of them, Bob.
Maybe you're one of them.
Yeah.
But I think that I did sense that maybe our penance was being the worst team in the league. Obviously, nobody likes to see teams get injured, and Curry being out and Clay being out that year. I think people didn't, and I'm guessing here because nobody will tell me we're happy you guys had a crappy record in a couple years ago or lost in the play-in. Yeah. I think being the 8th seed and losing in the play-in, I bet people maybe secretly like that. But I think people respect, at least from a peer level, when they see you dethroned and kind of tossed to the bottom of the mountain and then climb your way back up.
Right.
Nobody really had a problem with that, I think, Matt, as far as we respect what you guys did with Wiggins and signing Peyton and Porter and Bielitsa.
Right.
From a GM standpoint, they go that. They respect that.
Yeah.
So I think last year they were good with. Before that, I think people were a little maybe tired of us.
Let me ask you this, Bob. When I think about owners, I think about Joe Lacob when he got booed that night and what you guys have built and where the Warriors are at now. His nickname, Joey Lightyears. And I think about, Jerry Jones, Mark Cuban. What's it like working for Joe Lacob, and what's your relationship like with Lacob?
Well, he is what you think he is. He's in it. Maybe you would own it the way he does. And owners get to act however they want. It's their team, and it's different now from when Matt was covering sports or as a beat guy. Owners were not as involved, but teams didn't cost what they cost now. A lot of owners worked in their other professions, I think, those years, whereas many now commit everything to their team because it's multiple billion-dollar enterprise. So their engagement makes sense to act the way that they do. Some do, some don't. I'll tell you what Joe does get celebrated for and should is, I will tell you, he puts the money into winning, and there is zero doubt about that. Most owners, many will not do that. He could say, I just want to make a ton of money and not spend. And he would. He would make a lot of money if he just said, let's have a $200 million payroll instead of 360 or 400 or whatever it is. But he wants to win. So what you see on the sidelines and for fans,
which I love, by the way.
That's because he cares, right? And so that's a huge positive for everybody that wants the team to win and wants us to spend. And that's how he operates, and that's how some, like a lot of guys operate. Some guys don't, but I think you're going to see more of that. And when I grew up, and I've told Matt, I didn't know who the Warriors GM was when I was a fan. I didn't know who the owner was. I went to a Warriors game. I watched Larry Smith, Joe Carroll, whoever I could get, Mully, these guys, Sharunas. I didn't know anything about what moves they made, right? Or what their payroll was. I didn't know. Nowadays, fans know. They know the owner's name. They know our payroll. They know who we signed and who we didn't sign. They know when I screwed up, I didn't screw up. So it's a different era where owners, especially in the NBA, people know who they are. They know what they look like. So there's a public persona to this thing that's brand new, and it's a fascinating evolution, and I think it's just going to keep going that way.
Bob Myers joining us on 95.7 The Game. He's the president of basketball operations, the general manager of the Golden State Warriors. I don't know how I want to ask this question, but I'll ask it the way I'll ask it. Is there any, even though you guys won 4 titles, is there any part of you that, like, you got to win one without Curry at some point? You know what I mean?
What do you think this is?
Okay, here's what it is. Here's what it is.
Go ahead.
Joe Lacob, all right, 4 titles. I've said on the air, I'll bet you he has a little void, and that'll be like that's what he right now. That's probably what he really wants to do. Maybe not right now,
Sure,
but
because
the bottom line is that your detractors could say, "Do without Curry." He walked into Curry.
and look, that is fine for everybody to say that. They can say that, and they can be right. I don't even care. I love Curry. Like four with Curry is unbelievable. I mean, I don't. You ask me personally, right? You're asking me. I can't speak for anybody else. I have no need to go win to prove to me, more importantly to me, not the public, that I can do it without Curry. I don't. It is so hard to do with any player. Take any player. Now, I will have no problem saying, "Why'd you guys win a title?" Because of Curry. Great. Yeah, I got lucky. Yes. It's because.
I guess
of
what
Curry.
I asked it bad. I should have said, "Does it bother you?"
The people
if
credit.
And when people
no,
say
that's
that.
fantastic. Give him all the credit. He should have it. He is the most important person. It's not even close. I mean, it's. I think that's if we were at a bar and you go, you won because of Curry. I go, sure. Yeah, I'm lucky. I got lucky that Curry was there, and I guess what I might say to you is, I'm glad I didn't screw it up.
Right.
And if you said he should have had 6, I'd say, okay, well. Sorry, but we because I would feel worse, Matt, if I was at the bar and somebody said, I can't believe you had Curry for 12 years and you didn't win a championship.
Right.
Because there are great players that don't win a championship or win one.
Yeah.
And then if I was that GM, I'd feel like I blew it. I blew this opportunity because that's the hardest guy to find is that guy.
Right.
It is that one singular person in a sport where they can touch the ball as much as they want, and we've seen the best ever carry a team. Now, they need help, so I would feel worse, and I don't know, is 4 enough? Should have been 5? I don't know, man. I can't live like that.
You're lucky to get the 4.
Yeah.
I could make an argument. It could be
lucky.
6. Yeah.
Everything fell into place.
Yes,
Come on, 3-1.
What's wrong with saying you're lucky? I don't. Yeah, luck.
I always I like to go to the extreme to make a point, and I always tell Goo, they didn't even know they were going to win it last year. You think Bob Myers was saying we're a lock to win it?
Yeah.
So anyway, man, thanks for joining us as always. Really appreciate it.
Who are you guys getting? Who's ready? Are you going to get anybody else?
After practice,
Yeah, we got
Isn't Steinmetz going to get Curry? Isn't he usually friends with Curry?
Of course. Yeah. Of course. I got my list from last year. I got my list of questions from last year, man.
Oh, you guys are great.
Right on,
all righty. That's Bob Myers,
Thanks, guys.
president of basketball.